Hi everyone, this is Warren. Welcome to today's video. I'm going to be talking to you about the best piano series that I have ever taught from. And I'm also going to share the reasons why you're going to love this too. This is a series that I've been teaching from for the last 6 years in my piano studio. All my students love it and I've never heard a complaint to this day. So when I first started, I basically copied the traditional conservative approach that 99% of music teachers use. And that's mainly these evil books called method books. If you've never learned from a method book, you should just thank God, because you can think of these books as basically textbooks for piano. Not all that interesting. There's a lot of mechanical stuff in there. There's a lot of theory, a lot of weird positions. So it wasn't the best material to teach a beginning student. Thanks to this approach and my total novice teaching style, I probably lost a lot more students than I needed to. And after a few years is when I finally woke up and I decided I need to find something better. So I kept looking around, did a little bit of research, and the series that I found that I'm still using today is the Faber Studio Collection. I'm going to share with you what makes this series so good. The first reason has to do with variety. Think about when you go into an ice cream store, like a place like Baskin Robbins. You go in there because you want to sample as many different flavors as possible. Sometimes you want vanilla, sometimes you want chocolate, or if you're like me, you could just eat salted caramel for the rest of your life. It's highly recommended. So much the same way, a lot of students, they don't want to practice or play one genre for the rest of their life. It's not like eating salted caramel. There's a lot of different choices here. They have classics, which is code for classical music. I don't know why they call it classics. They should have just called it classical. They have jazz and blues. They have ragtime. They have popular tunes. They even have Disney music. And what's great about this is that it's actual music. It's real songs. And that's actually one of the main reasons why these method books didn't really do too well in my studio. How inspired would you be to have a piano lesson with me if I was like, all right, kids, today we're gonna learn 2 ants walking up the stairs. Or how about 3 frogs jumping off of lily pads? So you can imagine why this reason alone is a better choice than those method books. The only selection that might not be interesting to you and will be possibly outdated by the time you get to it is the Hits book, because this book is a collection of songs that you mainly hear off the radio. You know, songs from people like Justin Bieber, or you heard of Roar by Katy Perry. I don't really have anything against these songs. It just seems it's just kind of trendy. And every time you hop on a trend, there is a chance that it's not going to be popular anymore. Because think about, when is the last time you wanted to play Britney Spears, Hit Me Baby One More Time? Probably like never, because her music sucks. Sorry to any Britney Spears fans out there. I'm not really sorry. On to the next reason. This book is progressive, and I'm not talking about the insurance. I'm saying in difficulty, it goes step by step. Now, let's say you've never exercised a single day in your entire life. That's pretty lazy, bro. If I was your trainer and you came to a first session with me, I wouldn't tell you to bench press 2,000 pounds right off the bat. I'd probably give you those pink dumbbells to kind of start you off with something that's a little lighter and to shame you at the same time. But I digress. The reason why the progressive quality is super important is because it's what I call the Goldilocks approach. And that means something that is not too difficult, not too easy. It's just right at your level. So any student that starts with me, they get to choose whatever level that you're at, and also the music that they want to practice. And I've had some students do 2 or 3 books at a level before getting enough confidence and courage to move on. And likewise, I've had some students who just want to jump up immediately because they really enjoy the challenge. And it also reminds me of why I really enjoyed the RPG games like Final Fantasy when I was younger. So the series starts from a complete beginner, which they call pre-time, goes all the way up stepwise to advanced time. Advanced time is the last book in this series. The only unfortunate thing about that is there's only 1 book available, which is Christmas Music. I really don't know why they haven't published more books at that level, because they would make excellent additional options for an advanced piano student to study. Now, I also have a tip for you intermediate and advanced players as well. This book series is not only great for beginners. The way that you could use this series is to do some easier music, shore up some weaker areas if needed, things like sight reading, things like note reading, maybe just rhythm. And another way to think about it is when you become more advanced, one of the problems is you're usually working on one piece for a very long period of time, because the repertoire gets more difficult, more challenging, and it's a little bit longer. If you're working only on one piece of music for 1 to 2 months, you're not really learning any new music. And if you're not learning new music, your progress is going to stall. You're going to hit a wall. Think of it like being a writer. You could write a novel, and a lot of these important novelists have written a book that takes them about 10 years to accomplish. It's like a decade of your life, unless your name is Stephen King. And I'm not telling you to give up that project. So what they could also do in the meantime while they write that huge book is to do some other things, some shorter projects to really polish up their writing skills, such as writing for journals, maybe doing some articles, even creating their own blog. This series is also very well written, and what I mean by that is that it's arranged well. Let's talk about some counter examples. If you think of free sheet music arrangements, my advice would be to stay away from stuff like that, because 99% of the music is really awkward. And I don't have anything against these people who have created these free resources on the internet. I mean, that's cool, something for free. They didn't do it for money, and they're probably a fan of the music and they haven't been able to find the music themselves online, which is why they created it in the first place. But the problem is they don't know what they're doing when it comes to arranging it on a music sheet, because it doesn't matter how awesome a book you read. Imagine it's the best story in the world. It has one of the best messages you've ever read. If the paragraphs are indented the wrong place, a period and a comma showing up where it's not supposed to be, some of the words are capitalized when it's not supposed to be either, you're not going to be able to get through it because it's not going to make any sense. I've also seen like a cajillion ads for Simply Piano, and to be honest, a couple of my wife's students are actually really addicted to that app. There's actually a lot of good things about it. But what she also notices is when they get to a certain point, she can see a lot of the patterns and the finger numbers that they use. It's really awkward, and it's not going to develop you into a complete pianist. And that's actually one of the main goals of me teaching from this series is you're going to be exposed to a lot of different types of techniques, a lot of different types of patterns that you're going to need to develop into a complete pianist. So the Fabers, that's where the word Faber comes from Faber Studio Collection. They've been around like forever. I'm convinced that they're vampires. You can think of them as the OGs of the piano education industry. In fact, they have many of these method books that I'm not too fond of, but whatever. They know what they're doing when it comes to this music. And the last thing is these arrangements are very short. At the pre-time level, you're probably looking at an average of 8 measures for a song or a piece. And even when you get to the later levels, it's nothing more than about 4 to 5 pages. And if that sounds like a lot, it's actually not, because it's big print. Next, we're going to talk about money. First thing is buying this. So if you visit websites like Sheet Music Plus or Music Notes, one of the most popular things are these digital sheet music arrangements. But the problem is the price. For the price of one of these, you can probably get an entire book. So if you do some simple math, same price, one selection, same price, a bunch of different songs, I think it's really easy to figure out where the most value would be. And you might say that's what makes iTunes great, and I argue yes, that's actually what makes iTunes amazing, because you can pay for one track and it's very affordable than buying the entire album. But in this instance, you want to think those formulas are reversed. It's also easy to buy. I remember when I used to go to brick and mortar shops, traditional sheet music places, and I would also have to browse through the hundreds of folders that they had in order to find the music I'm looking for. And the worst thing is if I went up to the front desk and I told them, hey, this music I'm looking for, it's out of stock. And they would tell me I would have to wait from 4 to a maximum of 7 days. In the meantime, my student doesn't have anything to practice. Well, instead, all you do is flip open your smartphone, you press a button, under a minute you have ordered the music, because I got 2 words for you: salted caramel. Amazon Prime. As of this recording, all of the music is available on Amazon. Just made life for me so much easier as a teacher, and especially during this time with the pandemic, they can just order it online and it can be at their house the very next day, or perhaps a maximum of 2 days. Now, the last reason I highly suggest you check this series out is because of the resources that are available for it. And what I mean by that is I've recorded every single piece, every single song at every level. Pretty much everything in this entire book series has been recorded on my other YouTube channel. The only series I haven't recorded, some of the latest ones, which is called The Music from China. I'm just not motivated to record that music, but I might change my mind if I move to China. So just a short story on how I started my previous YouTube channel. The reason why I recorded the music wasn't actually because I wanted to. I noticed that a lot of my students, almost every student that I have, they learned really well with these tutorial style videos which have become so popular on YouTube. But then I would browse around and I wouldn't find a single video that's in that style for any of the music in this series. So that's why I decided to just do it myself. The reason why these tutorials work so well, even without any traditional explanations from me, is because they hit all of your learning modalities. Visual, you can see exactly what keys to play, with what fingers, and when to do it. You can think of auditory, which is the listening aspect, which you can hear the melody, you can hear the music. And the third is the physical aspect, is you can actually see what proper motions that you're supposed to use at the piano, and you can feel the rhythm as well. And I just need to be really clear, you don't need a single explanation from me in order to use these videos for your own benefit, because the most instruction I have ever given to any of my students regarding these videos is just to go home and study them every day. Literally, that's it. In fact, I get comments from people all across the world on my YouTube channel that they've been able to use these videos to help them learn it as well, and I haven't had a single lesson with them. But understand, if you're not working with a piano teacher, and especially if you're a beginner, that's going to be a really tall hill to climb. And one bonus benefit of having all the music recorded is that you can actually listen and preview every single one of the songs in whatever book you're thinking about buying to see if you actually like it or not. Because some problems that even I've had as a pianist is I'll buy an entire collection of music that I'm interested in, I kind of skim it, but then I'll go home and I practice it. A quarter of the way through, I realize I don't really like it. So you're stuck with the book that you don't like. You've kind of wasted your money on it. Now, where to start out? I want you to click the links in the description that I've set up for you. I have everything organized by genre and by difficulty. So whatever level you're at, you can find whatever genre you're interested in looking at. And if you want to branch out from this series, like if you've studied enough music in here and you want to try something different, I also have other collections on my website for all the same reasons that I've mentioned in this video. So make sure to browse the website. So that's it for today's video. I really hope I inspired you guys to at least check this series out. It's a really amazing series. I have nothing to complain about. It's just made my life as a piano teacher so much easier, and it's made practice so much more interesting for my students. So if you liked today's video, hit the like button. If it's your first time here, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, share this video. I'll see you guys next time, and happy practicing.